Welcome to Arcade Couch, the best place to chill with your friends and get your gaming goodness every Saturday. My name's Dylan Blunt. Joining me, Ashley Hobley.
Hey, what's up?
Oh my fucking god. Nothing at all this week? Nothing?
No, not much.
Not much?
Do you see they're doing the Tasmanian Tiger reboot?
Yeah, I saw
Remaster?
Remaster. Well, quotation marks. It's a Kickstarter though, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a remaster coming to Switch.
Yeah, Switch of all platforms.
But
I joke, but I'm intrigued because obviously,
because you're Tasmanian, you feel obligated.
Yeah. And I never finished that game. Maybe that's sacrilege, I guess, to a degree.
Never played it.
You never touched it?
No, I saw it at the store all the time. Like, I should pick this up because it's Australian.
Yeah, it's Australian game, and you know it's all right. There's nothing special about it really. It's just like it fits that same sort of Banjo-Kazooie whatever collectathon.
It's of that era.
Yeah, it's off that era, yeah, for sure. But the big hook for Australians and Tasmanians especially, I guess, is Australian game. Tyler, Tasmanian Tiger, yes please. Anyway, on this week's show, not much else Australian really. Ninja has moved over to Twitch.
What?
What? That's crazy.
That's wrong.
That's wrong. What's that mean for both platforms? We'll discuss that. Ooblets has gone full epic and gamers get shitty. And then, you could have probably fucking get that, let's be honest. And then the main topic for this week, we're going to be discussing the ESL leak. Thousands of games, journalist details have been leaked. The story literally keeps growing day by day. So I honestly believe that by the time we post this episode, they'll have learnt that they've actually just been leaking the details every year, because originally when it started, it was like 1 year, and now it's up to like 4 or 5 years of data. Anyway, so yeah, maybe this week's episode will be really relevant for only 2 days, and then by the time we post it, that's how fast it's going to go out of fashion. Though,
maybe they've been leaking all our information at the same time.
Maybe
this whole time, all that information's been available to anybody at any time.
That would explain
it's all ESA's fault.
That would explain some weird emails I've been getting lately. So firstly, though, I want to discuss that. Just quickly go over this. It's more of a free promotion for it, really. I guess you got me onto this because I was missing the memo about this. But Patriot act on Netflix. A new show. I suppose that's the easiest way to say it. A new show where each episode it's a deep dive on one topic, I guess.
Yes.
You know? It's the late show with John
Stephen
Oliver
Colbert currently.
Or Stephen Colbert or John Oliver, whatever. All those shows. I'm just saying it's like those shows except for it's just one topic.
Yes.
Yeah? Yes? Because they usually
like last week tonight.
That's it. Last week tonight, but just one main topic.
And with a diverse host.
Yeah, there you go. So that's the thing. So episode 1 of season 4 just dropped. It's about half hour long-ish, something like that, yep. I think. And it's all about the video game industry. And I watched it at the start of the week, and it's got a couple of people of relevance in it. Emily Beck, I can't remember her full name. Emily Beck. Buck, who used to work at Telltale. She's on there talking about the Telltale situation. She was previously seen, if you watched the Danny O'Dwyer Telltale one, she also appeared in that. She's a very open public speaker about she gives zero fucks, really. Good on her.
It makes sense. She was super vocal on Twitter while it was happening.
She was the most vocal.
I think she was one of the
That's when I started following her on Twitter, was because she was the most vocal person. I kept seeing getting like retweeted and stuff like that. So yeah, that's why I ended up following her. Also on there is Cecilia D'Antonio. Whatever.
On your own there.
I'm getting everyone's first name, and then after that's gone. But one of the Kotaku writers wrote up the Right Game story last year, covered that in a bunch of other really good Kotaku pieces. She's also on this as well, so lots of games, and apparently she did like lots of behind the scenes. Kind of helped them out with the story a little bit, but it's really good. It goes over video game crunch, the right game stuff, like the sexism in the workplace stuff, Telltale shutting down, and it's a good combination. In fact, I've never watched an episode of the show before, and I actually really liked. What's the host's name? I don't.
Hassan Minaj.
He's really, really good. I enjoyed how he is able to like give you the facts. And I feel like, because I was trying to look at this episode and be like, okay, if I didn't know any of this stuff already, because a lot of it is stuff I did know, to be fair, but I feel like even as someone who's in the video game industry, I feel like I obviously read and a lot of these stories as is, because we obviously talk about them. I bring them up on here fairly often, so I read a lot of this. But I was trying to think, like, as someone who doesn't actually focus on this stuff, like, would you be able to keep up? You know, was it like presented well? And I feel like it's a good combination of presenting the facts, but then doing it in a funny way. So, like, hooks in people who may not even play video games, because it's presented with jokes and stuff like that. And then there's even a part at the end where he's like playing Fortnite, and they did this whole joke about how he's like...
There's a skit
where he's like, supposedly... It's not real, though. It's like just... It's all nonsense. But he's like playing Fortnite, and they're like, hey, can I take a second to tell you about the horrible work conditions that people have, and all this thing, and he keeps dying. I thought it was kind of funny as far as like cringy late night TV show, video game stuff could go. It's on the... It's sitting at the... That's okay, perfectly acceptable level. But yeah. Did you have any thoughts on that thing, though? Because I thought it was, really good.
No, it was good. I mean, he's a very good host. They do it in a fun, informative way. It's good that obviously this will reach a huge, pretty big audience, because obviously this is probably the only like weekly Netflix news format show that they've got running still constantly. Every other one they've done has died like after 10 episodes. So yeah, it's really good. We knew pretty much everything in the episode. Obviously, we're in the know, so it was just delivered in a good format. The only new piece of information that I got from that episode is apparently Drake text with Millie Bobby.
Did you not know that? Did you not know that thing?
No, I did not know that.
That's a known thing that people often make jokes about, because he's like, yeah, she's my best friend. I text her all the time. We text all the time. People are like, this is a weird thing you got going on, Drake. And he's like, yeah, but it's cool. We're Canadian. It's
she
fun.
Canadian?
I don't know. I think so. I don't know. I just presume for anyone, Drake's like, it's cool, we're Canadian, even if they're not.
Are Canadians just allowed to text with everybody?
I think so. I don't know. It's all right, eh?
There's no pedophiles in Canada.
That's eh? We're no pedophiles here, eh? So I highly suggest everyone check that out. As a side note, I'm probably going to...
Yeah, you can watch it on YouTube as well. You don't have to be subscribed to Netflix.
Oh, cool.
On their Patriot YouTube channel. And then if you watch the episode, just let it autoplay, and then you can watch the episode on Cricket Corruption.
Cricket Corruption? Jeez Louise. I might get to that one, because as a side note, I really enjoyed him as the host, and I thought the way the show was presented was quite good. So I'm actually going to watch more of that now, I think, because I never actually bothered to watch it all before. And I'm a big fan of like John Oliver and stuff, and those sorts of shows.
Probably start from the start then.
Yeah, well, fuck it. I mean, if they're all like that, like if they're deep dives into topics, then even though it's a news show, it's not like week to week. It's not like your daily news show. I can go back to season 1.
Some of it is still relevant.
Yeah, I can go back to season 1 and be good there. So I highly suggest everyone check that out, because as far as getting coverage for these sorts of topics in mainstream media, obviously doesn't happen often. So this is a somewhat first. So yeah, I think,
what a week to do it in.
Well, yeah.
Timing, man.
There's could be worse weeks, I guess. Maybe, possibly. Let's talk about Pokemon Go real quickly. So, Pokemon Go, which of course is a huge game, has now got more massive. In fact, it's got so massive it's been downloaded 1 billion times. And saying it out loud,
I don't think it got any more massive. It just continued to get massive.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. But I think there's something, because you can read it and be like, yeah, 1 billion. But that's it. When you kind of say it out loud and you're like, 1 billion. The idea of a game being downloaded 1 billion times is kind of crazy. So the story comes from NintendoLife.com. It says news comes from new trailer released for the game today in Japan, which included staggering statistics as a side note. Of course, the number of downloads an app receives does not necessarily equate to the number of active players it has. Of course, which there will be far fewer, but it's still an incredibly impressive milestone. To put that number into perspective, if all the people who have downloaded the game were to form their own Pocket Monster-loving country, it would be the third most populated in the world behind India and China, a country, incidentally, where the app isn't even available. So you're trying to work that one out, you're like, does that make sense? Does that add up?
Wait, so everybody moves to the same country?
So if the 1 billion players start their own country,
okay,
then it would be the
makes sense.
third biggest country behind India and China. But the game's not available in China.
Mm.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Still room to grow.
It's funny every time I see stories like this though, because it's quite funny because I feel like if you're out of the loop of like Pokemon Go and stuff, you're a bit like you're like, is that game dead? Do people still play that? Because there was that burst when it first came out, and it was being covered on mainstream news and stuff because people were fucking walking out in front of cars and getting hit and all these sorts of stuff. So then it was like, this Pokemon game is
there were people swarming the streets.
Yeah, it's packs. Like this game is ruining the world. What's happening now? And then when that kind of not died, obviously, but moved on a little bit, people were kind of like, is this game dead? Do people still play this now? What's going on there? But 1 billion downloads would say that, yeah, people are still downloading it for sure. And there is a huge active player base. As a weird kind of side note, on kind of Greg Miller from Kind of Funny, do you keep up with Gamecast at all?
Not really. Just the occasional.
Yeah, I occasionally listen as well for time reasons, but I listened to a recent episode and he started playing Pokemon Go randomly or whatever, and he was saying, this is a true thing, it's like, he was saying how he used to walk down the street and never think twice or never notice anything, but since he started playing the game, he'll be walking down the street and now he'll notice like all the people who are playing it, which is funny. That's exactly the thing I said when I started playing it last year as well. I was like, as soon as you start playing it and you walk down the street, you suddenly just start noticing that all these people around you that you may not have even noticed before are actually playing the game. So yeah, 1 billion downloads.
Yeah, no, I had that as well when I went to the city. I noticed a bunch of people going around, but they were going in big packs and they all were wearing Pokemon shirts. So maybe it was a little bit more obvious.
Maybe a little bit more obvious, yeah. No,
Pokemon Go stream raid team.
Yeah, that's probably a big way at that point.
Big hint.
Yeah, maybe. Talking about mobile,
I did see a family walk through my shopping center wearing the Harry Potter scarves, and the dad goes, "Let's go have a raid." So they were playing the other one.
Can you raid in that one?
I think so.
I don't know. I honestly.
Or they were just playing both games at the same time.
Maybe.
Probably.
I honestly haven't picked it up since
we talked
about it. Yeah. Maybe
it's funny because it launched after we talked about it.
It launched like a month after we talked about it, so
yeah,
in America or whatever. Yeah, I saw a story pop up. It's like, we're inviting like a bunch of popular Pokemon Go YouTubers to this event to launch a game. I'm like, motherfucker, we talked about that shit like a month ago. Like, wait, is this how long it took to get to the States? Jeez Louise. So another, talking about mobile gaming, story comes from Game Sutra. I never know how to say this.
Game Sutra.
Game Sutra. Google's quietly working on a new mobile app and game subscription service for Android users called Play Pass, which I would say isn't a highly intuitive or great name, really. But screenshots obtained.
Well, it's Google Play Pass.
Okay. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Screenshots obtained by Android police show Google has already begun testing Play Pass, which looks to be the company's answer to Apple Arcade, the monthly subscription service for iOS that was unveiled back in March. The leaked images suggest Play Pass will cost $4.99 a month and will grant users access to hundreds of premium apps and games with no ads or in-app purchases. A free trial and family plan will also be available, although it's unclear of how much the latter will cost. It looks like the service won't just include games either, with an information page revealing users will be able to, quote, explore a curated catalog spanning puzzle games to premium music apps and everything in between. From action hits to puzzles and fitness trackers, with Google Play Pass, you will unlock access to hundreds of premium apps and games without ads, download fees, or in-app purchases. Although there's no word on what specific games will be available to play through Play Pass, the screenshots suggest big names like Stardew Valley, Marvel Pinball, and Limbo. I think this is honestly, after the Apple Arcade thing, this is kind of was a given, I guess. But considering when we talked about Apple Arcade, it was kind of only really relevant to me, of course, and when, because you and Sheree were on the show and I was asking the question of like, would this kind of thing ever make you want to switch service, and all these sorts of things. So if Apple's looking to do their own sort of thing, well, here's the big but with this at the moment, and the important but. Yeah. Apple Arcade, we know Apple is putting money into funding games as well. So that service is going to get exclusive games, and they are funding games for the platform, as well as curating a selection of games that you'll be able to get on top of those through the service. That's how their whole service is going to work. Google Play Pass, now, of course, this isn't like they haven't officially come out and said or whatever when it launches. But this
Well, it hasn't been confirmed yet.
Hasn't been confirmed, but this is it looks pretty much like it's around the corner. This is legit sourcing and websites and whatever else. So I'm keen to believe it, or else I wouldn't bring it up, obviously. But they're saying it's a $4.99 service. They're just mentioning a curated list of games that you'll have access to. There's nothing here that says anything about them putting money into games. Not to say that they couldn't, but yeah. Yep. So as someone who this affects you more than me, obviously, because I'm on the Apple service. What do you think about this? Or do you care for it?
I mean, it just depends on the content more than anything, I guess. If it's just if there's only a very select amount of titles and it's just like stuff that you could pay a few dollars for, I don't know. Would I want to? Maybe I'll subscribe for a month, play a bunch of stuff, see what sticks, and then see how much it takes up my time and whether it's worthwhile getting it every month. But I don't know. Yeah, I know I do play a lot with my phone.
That's the thing I was going to bring up. I was like, you do fuck around with a fair share of mobile games. So
yeah, but then I just get stuck into one, and then normally just the free stuff. So I don't know. It just depends on the content, which will be the thing. So if it's like ports of stuff, like high ends, like
Limbo and shit,
like Limbo and stuff. I mean, that's pretty. It's like $10 each or something. So I mean, it's a good deal.
Yeah.
Just I guess implementation and that sort of thing is going to be important. So.
Well, we should put an asterisk on the $4.99 and say that's probably American price, and it's probably going to be like $6 or $7.99 here.
Yeah. So,
which would weigh it all up. Yeah.
As to whether it's an Apple Arcade competitor, I think it's just a licensing thing. I don't think they're going to make any original content. It's no exclusives or anything. So
yeah, there's
other than it just happens to be exclusive to Android because they decided not to make it for iPhone. Or code it for iPhone.
Well, unless you can. Well, no. Is there any way? No, you can't play Google stuff. I know there's a way to like stream. Like, there's a really weird and convoluted way on my phone because I've brought like TV shows and movies and rented stuff through Google sometimes because it's cheaper. But then you have to download like a special app and all this. Like, you can't like buy the stuff through the app, but you can stream the stuff through the app. So it's like I have to buy it through a Google Chrome window
on your PC
or PC or whatever, and then stream it through that. They don't let you. Yeah, it's all weird.
Yeah, because they don't want Apple to have a cut.
Yeah, exactly. So, it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. I think, I wouldn't say it's reactionary, but at the same time, it makes sense if Apple's doing something, that they try and do something that's at least serviceable for Android users, I guess. Like they don't have the exclusive games or anything like that, but hey, we've got a service that will give you access to the game, and everyone's about services these days. I don't know if you've noticed that at all. We're all about
I don't know services. How long those can survive. Not everything can have a service. Can't subscribe to absolutely everything.
Everyone's talking about this whole when the Marvel movies go bust thing. When did all these fucking streaming services go bust is the next thing. Talking about streaming services, wayo. By the way, this article is written by, and it just knows now as I'm looking at it, this article from Kotaku is written by Cecilia Dinastio. I try it every time, and I feel so bad. I should just hey.
I really like that we're doing videos of these now, because now someone can go do supercut of you trying to pronounce words. Between this and Platt,
it's my life. My life. You could be like, Dylan, stop fucking up people's names. It's not just people's names. Ladder, 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 yellow, yellow. Thunderstorm. It's everything.
Touche.
Yeah, thank you. By the way, so I should have covered that at start because I mentioned on Platt and I didn't mention it, but I'll cover it then now. I should have really put that start, the whole video thing, but it's fine. We're on video by now. Asterisk that and come back to it. Ninja's to stream exclusively on Mixer, not Twitch. Kotaku
on Mixer?
Mixer? What's on Mixer?
Not Twitch?
No, it's crazy work. Tyler Ninja Blevins, the patron saint of Twitch, announced today, well, as of writing, that he's moving his channel over to a significantly less popular streaming platform, Mixer. News of the frankly shocking transaction comes the day before Blevins' Lollapalooza. What is Lollapalooza? Is that a music thing?
Isn't it like a music?
I think it is.
Musical festival?
This is how old we are and hip we are. I googled it real quick.
Yeah.
It
the
says
Chicago Music Festival.
Oh, cool. Illinois. Grant Park.
Because when I think of music festivals, I think of Ninja.
Me too, to be honest. There was that one time where he said, everyone get
Just
down.
streaming games in general.
Everyone get down at the New York event. And he got like 3 people to dance out of thousands. That was fucking hilarious. So he'll now take place on Mixer.
Now.
In a video that he announced it, so he put out this like 1.5 2-minute video, whatever it is, called Leaving Twitch, the Next Chapter. It's like a skit type thing where he walks up on stage and then he gets asked questions by a bunch of press people and stuff, but all the press people is just him dressed up in costumes and stuff like this. He comes up and he says, I know this...
I got a joke. See, there was the one woman that is allowed to play video games in that clip.
Was it? I can't remember.
Him dressed up as a woman, yeah.
I know. All I know was the rather late 1990s, early 2000s fucking, the woman's wig falls off. I'm not going to get started in that, but I was like, really? Like, I haven't seen anyone do this shitty joke for quite some time.
That was a really bad bald cap as well.
I was like,
you're getting paid millions of dollars to move to Mexico. Come on, just get a proper...
do something.
Pay for a makeup artist.
Well, I presume Microsoft fucking wrote and directed this whole thing anyway. But he comes up on stage and he says, I know this may come as a shock to many of you, but as of today, I'll be streaming exclusively on Mixer. Blevins, who has 15 million Twitch followers, said in a video posted to Twitter, I feel like this might be a really good chance to get back in touch with my roots and really remember why I fell in love with streaming in the first place. And it goes on and on and on. So if you're watching the video version, Ash did a money symbol, which is exactly right. This is the funniest thing about this reaction to me. It's like, why even bother trying to bullshit? Why bother? Who's falling for this? Do you like, how young, naive, and silly as a kid do you have to be to fall for this? Do you reckon? Like, legit, to be like, oh, he's doing it because it's better for him
to get back to his roots.
He really wants to get back to his roots. No one's believing this. It's utter nonsense. But I mean, obviously, as far as streaming news or whatever you want to call this, it is shocking. It was a massive move. I'm not a Ninja fan at all, so I really give zero shits where he streams, to be honest. But like, as a industry perspective, it's obviously quite interesting because Mixer's a service that exists, and most people don't know, don't care, don't bother because everyone thinks of Twitch, obviously, you know. And up until a point, I honestly felt like the only way you could even stream to Mixer was through the fucking Xbox app until I found out there were other ways to do it. That's how silly I was, I guess. But so. Twitch offered their own statement on the loss of their biggest streamer, saying, quote, "We've loved watching Ninja on Twitch over the years and are proud of all that he's accomplished for himself and his family and the gaming community. We wish him the best of luck in his future endeavors." Currently, Blevins' new Mixer chat is blowing up, moving faster than light with questions, welcome statements, poggers, and other internety language owned by Twitch culture. Meanwhile, Ninja's partnered checkered mark has been removed from his channel. That was quite funny. Twitch removed his tick like that as soon as this video went up. You're not partnered anymore. Get the fuck out of here. So that was quite funny. In a follow-up video, Blevins explained they had been holding on to news for a while now, but didn't further clarify the reason behind his decision. We know that fucking one source with knowledge of the streaming industry says Mixer has offered money to streamers to switch over, with some deals exceeding US $1.4 million. Kotaku has reached out to Blevins and Mixer for comment on whether that was the case. At the end of the announcement, blah, 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 anyway. Then there was a follow-up thing, so that's IGN wrote a follow-up thing when he actually went live, saying Ninja passively popular Fortnite player and live streaming out yesterday when streaming on Mixer. Blah, 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 blah. We have Ninja's viewership data for his first day on Mixer, and things are off to a good start. Ninja's peak viewership hit 95,877. That's too many sevens there, I feel. 95,877 when his viewers when he streamed Fortnite World Cup champion Booger, I guess.
Booger.
All these people's names.
Oh no,
Booger?
Bugger or something. I can't remember.
But throughout the 6-hour stream live from Lollapalooza, Ninja averaged a healthy 68,000 concurrent viewership. Ninja's viewership on Twitch these past weeks has been usually around the 40k concurrent mark, so his Mixer numbers are already up from Twitch. Still, it's only the first day, so there are many viewers likely tuning in for the newness of it all. It remains to be seen if Ninja can maintain
No, they're
his
just
day
huge
one
fans of
momentum.
Lollapalooza.
Maybe they are massive Lollapalooza.
They were hoping to hear the Lollapalooza in the background.
Okay, I mean, they're looking for a cheap entry to the Ariana Grande concert or whatever's going on over there.
Everybody in the chat was, stop talking. I want to hear...
the
insert musical artist.
Yeah. Yeah, so Mixer, I remember I also saw a picture go around on Twitter when he was streaming how like the top game on Mixer was Fortnite with something like 98,000 viewers or whatever, and then someone pointed out like 90,000 of those at the current time was Ninja, and then the second highest streamer only had, a couple thousand or something. Like Ninja going over to Mixer is basically bowling over the numbers that the current popular people were getting on there. There's no close gap or anything like that. So there were stories going around that he got paid several $1 million for this deal, and apparently it's a 3-year contract or something is what the get-go is. So a 3-year contract to do this, and as much as he's saying, hey, I'm doing it to get back in touch, that is not the reason. And honestly, as much as I said before, I don't care about Ninja, I don't really particularly like Ninja, to be honest, and I think we know that. We poke jokes at him and his don't stream no girls thing quite often. But I think he's smart to do this because when we talk about Twitch culture quite a lot, there's a number one thing that comes up between a lot of streamers here, popular streamers in Australia to the rest of the world, wherever it is, a common conversation that happens all the time. And I've seen like Barjo and Chinglish and other people in Australia even like talk about this over the Christmas break and stuff. And I've seen popular American streamers say similar thing, which is that if they take a break, they will just lose subs. Like that, like if they take a day off, a single day off, they start losing money. And because of that, it builds in this culture to full-time streamers where they have to constantly be streaming. They're never allowed to take break days. They can't take time off. I remember when Barjo took his break of like a month or something earlier in the year, like he took his Christmas break time, I guess, like around February or whatever it was. I felt like that was quite a big deal to see like one of Australia's biggest streamers being like, you know what? I need the break. And I'm taking it. And I'm sure his numbers went down, and that would have been hard to watch. Like if I was him, I'd be like, that's a big decision to make because it's your money, it's your job, it's your momentum,
it's your livelihood.
It's your livelihood, exactly. So the Ninja is smart to take this because he is being guaranteed money. Mixer has put him on apparently a 3-year contract, and he is guaranteed a certain amount of money. So at a bare minimum, he's getting it. He knows what at a bare minimum he's going to get. That is not without his sponsorships, donations, subscriptions, and everything. He's still going to make a fuck ton of. He's going to make a ridiculous amount of money, and he already makes a ridiculous amount of money. But he's going to make a fuck ton of money. But he'll be able to at least take days off now and not have to worry about potentially losing a bunch of money and stuff because he's going to have that safety cushion of whatever Microsoft
that safety net
has paid him. So do you have any thoughts on it?
I mean, from Mix's point of view, it's like the smartest thing they could have done. Like pinch the name of Twitch, arguably, and it's got everybody talking about Mixer. Had you thought about Mixer in the last month?
No, not only time I thought about it was when I a couple weeks before this, Dash on Twitter is like, should I go over to Mixer? I'm like, oh yeah, that's a thing that exists. No,
that's a good joke.
Because my feeling with the whole Mixer thing is, I don't think it's as good as a platform as Twitch. I don't think it's set up as well. And when it comes down to, oh yeah, but Twitch has got this problem, it does. Guess what? YouTube sucks. Twitch sucks. Fucking Facebook sucks. Twitter sucks. Instagram sucks. It's owned by Facebook. They all fucking suck. So and the problem with being a part of wanting to make your livelihood, your job, whatever, your hobby, whatever you want to call this shit that we do and what other people do on the internet, is you are stuck. You cannot take a stand. This is one of the things where you can't be like, I'm going to be really righteous. I'm not going to post anything on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram because they don't do this or that. You're fucked. This is just one of the things where you're fucked. You have to use the tools that are given to you for these things, or else you're putting a handicap of 200 on yourself, you know?
Yep. It's a tough handicap.
for no reason. So, yeah, that's how I feel about that. But
yeah.
Now people are hearing about
Mixer.
Mixer.
It'd be interesting to see if this actually creates growth for Mixer, or it's just going to be people coming in and watching Ninja.
Yeah,
Are we going to see those users filter out onto other users' streams or not?
Well, that's what they want.
Just people have signed up. That's what they want. Is that what's going to happen, or is it as soon as Ninja's off, they go back to Twitch?
Yeah, exactly. That is 100% what they want, and we will not know if that works out or not until. I mean, you could say a month from now, but to be honest, I'd say check back in at a minimum of at least 6 months from now for a good like testing ground of how well this is going. Yeah. Like maybe at the end of the year at the earliest type thing, not check back in next week or at the end of this month or something. Like it's too early at that point even. But yeah, I think it's a smart move by Ninja to accept it, and I think it's a smart move by Microsoft / Mixer whatever to do it. And I think that if it does pay out for them and that does make other people start exploring Mixer, then it is worth their money. I've seen other people bring up interesting things for this as well, which is that Xbox, Microsoft, and all that moving forward could be adding maybe they'll add a service to Xbox Game Pass or Xbox Gold Live or something like that, where you get one free subscription for a Mixer stream, and that would be really smart if they did that. I think that would be a really smart thing to do as well, because then all of a sudden, all these people who are subscribed to Xbox Gold or Game Pass or what have you, where they give it away, they're like, oh, I've got this thing, and much like you hear people on Twitch, like, we've said it. We've said it. You got Amazon Prime.
Twitch.
Get on over to twitch.tv/Explosion Network and subscribe to our channel, because even though if you don't watch Twitch, if you've got Amazon Prime, you have access to that free sub.
Even if we're not streaming, you're helping us out.
Exactly. We get the money nonetheless. And if they did something similar, then it's going to be the same thing. Oh, you don't watch Mixer, but maybe you're watching a creator, a YouTuber, you're listening to a podcast or whatever, and they're suddenly like, hey, mixer.com/whatever. Are you subscribed to Xbox Gold? Here's your free subscription. So I feel like between the Ninja thing and that thing, if that actually happens, because I feel like that's a pretty solid rumor that would make sense, Mixer's getting ready to make some moves. I didn't add the story in here about their whole, whatever you want to call it, their guidelines
Community
thing.
guidelines?
Yeah, their guidelines thing, because...
which is vague and weird.
It's very fucking weird, but it's like... It was so funny because they had such good press, I guess, coming out of the Ninja thing, and then like a day later, that it was just bad press. If you don't want to be mean, they someone posted this thing around Twitter, screenshotting the Mixer guidelines, and it's really weird where it's like they have rules for different age gaps, which makes sense. I'm like, that's cool, that's fine. So it's like, hey, if you want to do a stream and mark it as like 12 or whatever, you have to do this. If you want to do a stream and mark it as 16 older, you can't do this or whatever this. But the 18-year-old one said like, girls have to wear, like the camera has to be above a certain place, and they can't like have like strapless shirts or bras or anything, because they could appear naked, and all sorts of weird things, all sorts of quite odd things. So I think people were rightfully ripping into them for that, because although I saw people counter argue and go, well, they've got guidelines here that they've laid out how everything works, and Twitch's guidelines are bullshit and don't even make sense, and they're really obscure. I'm like, you're both right, but that does not make this one okay, you know? No one's saying that Mixer is better than Twitch. I'm saying Twitch's guidelines are shit, but these Mixer guidelines are also shit. You know, we've got two sides of shit coins here for you to deal with for different sorts of reasons. By the look of you, was you trying to find them then, or was you just clicking?
Yeah, apparently it's for family-friendly streams. Microsoft insists clothing must cover entire visible body from a few inches above the bust line and cannot be strapless and should show little to no cleavage.
Yeah.
Hosts with the team rating are allowed to reveal more than a hint of cleavage. And 18 plus streams, the chest must be covered from the bust line to the end of the rib cage with no under cleavage. Strapless tops are allowed, but only if the top can be clearly seen on camera. No one should have to guess if the streamer is wearing clothing.
It's really weird. It's You know, and lots of girls were rightfully pointing out that, like, all the guidelines were basically written to tell them how to
Dress.
apart from the one thing about being like, guys can't have their shirts off either. It's all to do with girls, all of it. You know, it's like, don't do that, but girls don't do this, or this, and don't even give a hint that you could be naked. We don't want to put those bad thoughts in the evil men's brain holes or whatever. Talking about
no, what if they fall in love with you?
Jesus. Talking about guys being.
Oh wait. Oh, I wonder how many people will drop off, seeing as they have to set up a whole new account for a whole new service and open a brand new tab and log into something else. That would be a real inconvenience that makes people get really angry and not want to use this other service.
Yeah. So, in case you didn't know, this past week, a little old game called Ooblets, which we've talked about several times, and honestly, I feel like until this story blew up, it was us and about 1,000 other people who knew what this fucking game was. Because I remember Cris spotted a tweet from them last year at some point, and she sent me the tweet, and I was like, this game looks cute. This was prior to her even joining Explosion Network. And I was like, this game does look cute. So we both end up following the Twitter account, and we've been following the game since then. We start doing Arcade Couch. Of course, the games get brought up. We keep talking about it. But until this story, I was like, did people even know this game existed? And I do think that's an important point. I'm not just saying that as like we're hipsters, we knew about Ooblets before it was cool. I think it's an important point to bring up because all these people are screaming and yelling at them. Didn't even fucking know the game existed. You know? Why are they angry? Oh my God. This story gets me riled up. And also keep in mind this fact. The Ninja story we just talked about. Ninja moved from one platform to another because he got fucking paid. He got paid to go platform exclusive over to Mixer, and gamers are like, good on you, Ninja.
Cool. You get yours.
You do what you need to do. You do what you need to do to get that bread. Yeah. Rise up.
That bread.
Is that not what they say? Get that bread?
Green? Oh, bread.
Bread? Isn't that the saying? But Ooblets does this, and gamers say, you fucking cunt. That's how dare you, sir. All right, let's get into the story. So it comes from GameIndustry.biz. Glubberland has received thousands, if not tens of thousands of threats as results of signing an exclusivity deal with Epic's game store. The indie studio, which is just two people, Rebecca Cordingley and Ben Wazza? What's up, mate? Announced that it had signed a temporary PC exclusivity deal for Ooblets last week. The terms of the deal effectively covered The terms of the deal effectively covered Glubberland's sales forecast across all storefronts, allowing the small studio to raise its ambitions and bring in help without worrying about commercial failure. Firstly, let's just stop there for a sec. The idea of not worrying about commercial failure, why would that not be a interesting thing for a developer to chase? Like why would they want that? Why would they want safety net? Why would they not want to?
Yeah, it sounds very enticing.
The UK developer anticipated some backlash. Yeah. Publishing a blog post that explained its reasoning and addressed the most common complaints with the Epic Game Store divisive exclusivity strategy. It also tweeted, okay, so we did the thing that get people angry about, but maybe don't get angry about it. People did get angry about it, and to a degree that shocked Glubberland's co-founders. So I just want to say firstly, the thing that they posted, the blog post announcing this, a lot of people bring this up, and as we give examples of what exactly pissed people off so much, it's the fact that they went exclusive, but it's also this the original piece that they put up was this, they made jokes. They made jokes basically saying that gamers will get angry about this, and people didn't like the fact that they made jokes and had stirred the pot a bit, I guess. Yeah. I don't know what other way that
it was tongue in cheek, but let's be honest, it was either going to go one or two ways. Everybody was going to laugh and think it was funny, or everybody was going to get quite angry. Everybody got quite angry.
Yeah,
the majority got quite angry.
Because, yeah, and honestly, I did not care.
Actually, not even the majority, just a lot of people.
Well, yeah. But did you read the original thing?
Yeah.
What did you think of their tongue-in-cheek jokes?
I thought this is funny. People are going to get pissed off by this.
Yeah.
The people who are hardcore Steam anti-Epic people are going to grab this and run with it.
Yeah,
you know?
Which is exactly what happened. Yeah. I feel like they knew that, though. They went into it knowing it. I guess they just didn't realize how fucking bad it would blow up. And I laughed, and I appreciated that they actually had the balls to poke fun. And I don't. The thing is, because all the people that get into replies are doing the whole "you attack gamers," you know. It's that people that's like it's a fucking ethnicity or something. You can't attack gamers. Gamers aren't a fucking race or a people. Everyone can't. Can everyone just calm the fuck down here with this thing? Because
you're hobbyist.
Yeah, just you're hobbyist. That's the thing. Because they made jokes about how every time someone's announced for the Epic Game Store, gamers get all shitty and pissy and whiny about a thing that honestly is not a big deal. And guess what? They got all shitty and whiny about a thing that isn't a big deal because they've fucking every time this happens, and I swear we've talked about how many games at this stage have we talked about on this show alone, and we haven't talked about all of them. I feel like we've covered at least
Borderlands 3. No,
fucking
too long.
Metro, whatever else is happening. But I think the thing with this one that makes it the worst, the saddest, and the most egregious and just sad out of all of these stories is it's two people, and it's a little indie game that,
let's be honest, barely anybody heard of before.
And we're not trying to say that to shit on. That's what I'm saying. That's why I think that's an important part of the story. None of these people heard this game before, but it's just because the second it was announced, they were able to rile up and use it for their mantra of "fuck the Epic's Game Store." That's what they got all pissy about. So yeah, anyway, story continues. It says people got angry about it. So Wazza and posted in a community message, they said, "We really misjudged how angry so many people would be. The whole thing has just devastated us. We've been getting thousands, if not tens of thousands of hateful, threatening messages across every possible platform nonstop. It's especially hurtful since we've had such a positive, supportive relationship with our audience throughout development. The Patreon community has been one source of the message of support," Globalland said, "but the intensity of the response was such that, quote, I have been crying non-stop for the last 2 days and feel like the world has just collapsed around me. I couldn't have guessed the scale of what it would feel like to be a target of an internet hate mob. I already have a lot of empathy for other targets of previous hate mobs, which is why we wanted to address that sort of thinking in an announcement, but I had no idea it was this bad. One of the key issues within the Ooblets Patreon community appears to be the studio's need for financial support from the public given the terms of the deal with Epic. Globalland acknowledged that this in an initial blog post and said again in the statement that it, quote, wanted to get your take on that. However, the volume of messages Globalland claims to have received would suggest that the backlash has extended beyond Ooblets Patreon community, which only has 1,101 members. So before kind of moving on for this, I do want to note one thing, because another key factor that I see a lot of the fuckboys hating on them say is they're bringing up how they've signed this deal with Epic and they've fucked over all the people who kickstarted their game. This is the thing. A lot of these people saying this thing, as we keep saying, don't know about this game, didn't know of its existence until this week, and haven't done any research into how this game was being funded. They had a Patreon set up. The Patreon was never even promising the patrons the game. It is not, and also Patreon isn't Kickstarter. The people who were patrons of their Patreon, however you say that shit, fucking hell.
The patrons of their Patreon.
Patrons of their Patreon knew that they weren't funding a product to get made and then they were getting a copy. They weren't kickstarting the game. They were doing it as like a donation type thing, and they were getting behind the scenes access to art and information and that sort of stuff. All of the people on their Patreon knew what they were paying for. And as far as I can tell, they even posted, as I said here, after the Epic deal got made, because they never even promised them the game, after the Epic deal happened, they were saying, like, do you want us to shut down the Patreon? Like, are you happy for it to continue? Blah, blah, blah. I feel like they were well within their right to take the money from Epic or whatever else. And, you know, they never even, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't a Kickstarter. People keep talking about it like it was a Kickstarted game. It was not a Kickstarter game, and there is a big difference.
No, this isn't Shenmue 3.
This is not Shenmue 3.
So
it's a completely different situation.
Yeah. So once you lay out all the facts like that, it's clear that, again, the internet got angry over something they didn't know anything about.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's...
They got angry off a headline, probably.
Yeah,
or a single tweet, yeah.
Fucking take much. They posted up this much longer thing on Medium, which I'm not going to read all because it's quite long. I didn't read it all. It's reading it is just really quite sad because they're saying about it was only posted today as of recording. So, but this part here it says to try and re-inject a little context into how you might conceptualize this situation. Note that we've got literally tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of messages on every conceivable platform. We see a lot more than you ever could looking from the outside. Sorry, and the worst of it usually gets deleted or is sent to us privately. Here's a quick, very brief sampler of taste. Again, serious content warning, apologies for not censoring these, but this is reality of the situation. And some of the messages they're receiving, once again, and I'm sure you're all aware, but just to note, all of these messages receiving because they took a deal that would safety net and guarantee that they'll be able to publish a game, make the amount of money necessary for it to be a success. What do you want to? Not even this. Well, I don't know. What do you deem a success?
Guarantee them their livelihood.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Exactly. They. How fucking dare they? You know, how fucking dare they? And they get these messages.
How dare they have some sort of security in their lives?
Crazy.
Ugh.
And then they get these messages. I really hope you and your whole wife off yourselves after your game flops. It makes a lot of sense that you shoved your head in Epic's ass for a few extra bucks after finding out you're due. Swallow Bleach. Who seeks Patreon support, then goes to Epic? Have fun with the 3 people that will play this abomination of a game. If I see you on the streets, you're going to have your face smashed in as a wake-up call, Mr. Entitled. This game is going to flop so hard. LMAO. Actually, it already is dead. F-word, N-word, devs. When this is all said and done, and your gaming career in shambles, I hope your wife leaves you. Based on her post, though, you guys are the perfect pair of shitheads. Have fun cutting yourself. And it goes on. And it goes on. I hope a wild pack of M-words rape you in your whore. These are real things people are saying. And I just want to tie this in something. I'm not talking about the Donald Trump story, right? I didn't bring that up this week, although that's a key topic this week, obviously. And the reason I don't like talking about that is because I don't think it's at all relevant. I think that the second everyone starts spending all their time talking about how Donald Trump's full of shit and video games don't make you violent, straight away we're spending less time. It's not really relevant to us as is because I can't do anything. It's not my country, right? But the second all these people in America spend time attacking Trump, they're not actually spending more time talking about what actually matters and speaking to their local congressmen and senators and what have you. You know what I'm saying? So I think the whole Trump thing's a very good, like, I don't know if he does on purpose, but he says something and everyone gets fucking sidetracked to attacking him, which works in his favor quite well. But he said that thing. And then he says that video games cause all these horrible acts of violence, right? And everyone's talking about this now. I don't think that video games can cause you to be violent. But holy fuck, is it hard not to read this and find out that a small dev team of 2 people are receiving such horrible messages and not go, well, there is at least a percentage of the gaming user base that are fucked. And at least some of these people, maybe they wouldn't actually do anything IRL, and I'd like to believe that most of them wouldn't because they're mostly fucking, you know, probably 14-year-olds sitting there jerking off or whatever else they're doing. But to have the thought process to write this stuff and click send to someone over the internet, I cannot comprehend at all. It blows my mind. I'm like, how do you actually write the thing and click enter? And then go downstairs and have tea with mummy and daddy or whatever else you're fucking doing. And they also say here, this is a small sample of stuff sent to us directly as we aren't keeping track of stuff on 4chan, Reddit, and other threads. And I'm sure the stuff on 4chan is fucking great, you know, because that place is a centerpiece for global peace. As far as I'm aware, you know, find out what's happening on 8chan as well after that, shall we? What else have here? It says down here, entitled isn't as meaningless insult as I was throwing around. It's a description of people who feel owed something from us just because they are potential customers or that they really wanted the game. They can't seem to comprehend that there is no difference between someone making a game and anyone else. Strangers don't owe you anything, regardless of whether they've spent $200 to register an LLC or not. We absolutely appreciate the support of fans and especially all our Patreon supporters who've been in communication with us throughout all this. I've never made any statements that were unappreciative of them at all, and mischaracterizations of my messages are not very convincing. We have a relationship with patrons that has expectations laid out up front. We definitely owe them in relation to all they've done for us and what we've promised them, and we try really hard to honor all of that. Our announcement went to them first with a message about what it would mean for patrons, namely that we were no longer financially dependent on their support and wanted them to be aware so they could feel free to cancel or lower their pledges, and asking what they thought we should do with the Patreon in general, given all that. At the same time, our detractors were using the fact that we had a Patreon as a core argument for how we were supposedly double-crossing people. We've been getting non-stop questions about whether patrons will still get Steam keys or not, despite none of our Patreon tiers offering the game at all. Maybe these folks don't know what Patreon is and think it's the same thing as a Kickstarter, or maybe they're just trying to cover their undue entitlement in the trappings of concern on behalf of patrons. Now, one thing I thought of reading this is, this. SJW. It's a saying that these people like to throw around quite often. I feel like I can safely characterize the people that are writing these messages as the same type of people who would throw around SJW and words like that on the internet. Not as a joke, but as an actual thing, that they say. Like, oh, you SJW, you white knighting them. These are the same fucking people. And SJW gets thrown around to people, and white knighting gets thrown around because for people who, like, you see those threads sometimes where girls like a girl Twitch streamer or something will post like a story about how a guy went into a DM box and said some horrible things, and then a guy will comment and be like, "I'm so sorry I had to go through that. That sucks." And then someone will reply to that and say, "Oh, you SJW, why are you trying to white knight her?" And they're saying that the person coming in and interjecting is only saying that because they're trying to SJW and white knight. These people who are getting all up on their high horse about the Patreon stuff are doing literally the same thing. They're not involved in the Patreon, but they're trying to fight a fight for the patrons for some reason. You know what I'm saying? Like none of these people are actually the patrons. The patrons got ahead of this at before it even all went down, and yet these people have been like, well, you fucked over the patrons. And they're like, why are you speaking for the patrons suddenly? Why do you suddenly care about the patrons? Do you go around trying to file cases and stick up for all sorts of patrons that get fucked over? Bet you don't. You're just using that as your twisty narrative to make your whole case against Epic Games work here because you're a bunch of sad, useless fucking pricks who, if you break your leg tomorrow, you wouldn't see me crying twice. I do want to point out here because
make sure you tell us how you really feel.
Well, I hate this story. It's just fucked. It's honestly, it's just. There's another thing in here where they said people were doctoring at some point in one of these paragraphs. They talk about how people were doctoring messages and making people were making fake Discord messages about him saying stuff about like how he hates Jews and all this sort of stuff, and people are circulating that. So people were making fake messages and whatever else, which is always great to hear, isn't it? But the final part here, it says, and a final thanks to our friends at Epic, who are not only giving us the resources to make the game even better than we could have hoped, but are also showing us unwavering support. A lot of companies would have left us to deal with this all over on our own, but Epic has been by our sides as the world has gone sideways. The fact that they care so much about a team and a game as small as us proves that we made the right call in working with them, and we couldn't be more thankful. There was also a story the other day that Epic said that in the future they are putting together a team to help address these situations as they continue to happen, because I guess at this point they're not dumb enough to believe that it's ever going to stop. Whatever they announce next, coming to Epic as an exclusive, is going to go for the same sort of shit. Ooblets, the team Globalland, they aren't Metro. They're not Borderlands. They're not, this is coming into their Discord community, who I was a part of their Discord community, has like 1,000 people in it. And then all of a sudden they've got thousands of people coming into it out of nowhere when this announcement happened, filling up all the threads with fuck you, I hope you die, and all this sort of stuff. they didn't have the mods, the admins, or anything to deal with this situation. They really weren't prepared. So, as much as I don't think Epic is perfect in any means of the world, they're a company that has, like if you want to get into the Fortnite thing, we know they have crunch issues with Fortnite. We know they've got other issues here. But I will say one thing: they appear to at least give a shit, which is more so than Steam ever has. When Steam for years, and I've talked about it beforehand, Steam has gave zero fucks about the type of games it puts on its platform, and if this sort of thing was happening on Steam would just let it happen. They'd be like, oh, not our fucking, why do we, don't even care. Not our business. Also, I saw someone, I think it might have been Jigsy, actually on Twitter. I think it was either him or David Milner. I can't remember. One of them I saw a tweet and point out the fact that they saw someone comment pointing out like why are they trying to force Epic's trying to force exclusivity and stuff onto PC that never existed before. Steam never tried to do this, but they were like Steam literally brought up its whole service by putting a console exclusive game on there, Half-Life. I was like, yeah, I mean you're right. They didn't buy the game from someone else, but the point is they were like, we have an exclusive game on our service. Download Steam to play that game. You have to have Steam installed to play Half-Life. You can't just install it onto your computer like other games. You have to have Steam. People are like, okay.
Yep.
That's perfectly fine.
But they did it first, so.
Yeah, but I'm just fucking fine. I mean, I love, I mean, I don't love, because I think this is a horrible story, but I kind of enjoy how annoyed they get at being called man baby gamers and stuff, and I fucking love it. Every thread I've seen where they're like, well, they how dare they call us man baby? You're a fucking man baby. You're all man babies. You're all little fucking, I hate them. Do you have anything to say? Because I hate them. That's my 2 cents. I fucking hate them. All of them. I hope the whole video game industry burns with this shit. This is the kind of story that makes me not want to play video games. I mean, I'm never going to stop playing video games, but it's the kind of thing that makes me not want. It's the kind of thing when this story drops, I'm like, I don't want to play anything today because I'm just like this industry at times. And it's the same thing I went through with Star Wars. That was whole when Star Wars fan base gets all toxic, it just makes me not want to participate in anything Star Wars, And if the whole video game industry story like this is happening, and I'm like, maybe that's a weird connection for me to have, I guess. But if I've got 100,000, which is a very small number compared to everyone in the world who plays games, obviously. But if I know there's like 100,000, a couple thousand even people on the internet fucking sending death threats one day, it kind of just makes me go, might just watch TV shows today. Just like, might stay away from that particular thing today. Just makes me feel a bit, yeah. Do you have any thoughts? Because this is...
No, I think we've covered pretty much everything. I mean, it's shitty. And I look forward to buying Ooblets on Epic Game Store.
Yeah.
I mean, not that they actually need me to purchase it because they are guaranteed a minimum, but hopefully when the game comes out, everybody jumps on board, smashes that minimum number, and then they get a bunch of extra money as well.
Yeah.
And then we can all say fuck you to the haters.
Yeah. I'll buy it twice if I could. Fuck them.
I'm sure. Well, you can. You just set up multiple accounts.
Yeah. Look, let's not go as far as to say the Epic Game Store will make it easy for me to switch between accounts. We know that ain't happening. Add some fuel on the fire of the enemy side. Yeah, it's not easy to switch accounts.
Listen, Epic Games. What you need to do that gifting thing between now and when Ooblets comes out, because we'll gift Ooblets to people.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll send Ooblets to people.
Send Ooblets to people. There you go. That's what we do. Okay, so I played 2 games. I just want to quickly mention. Well, one's a game, the other one's a demo, but that's fine. Go, we'll do the thing. So the first thing I played is the Haunted Island, the Frog Detective. I have a full Let's Play. I hate saying the word Let's Play for some reason. I have a full Let's Play.
Gameplay video.
Full gameplay video with my face in it. up on youtube.com/Explosion Network at the moment for this. It's an Australian game developed by Grace Bruxner and Thomas Balker. It is about an hour long. It costs you $6.50 on the old Steam Australian dollars. So it's appropriately priced for the length of time, and it's quite charming and fun. I would say I highly enjoyed my hour with it. You play, as the title would suggest, a frog, and the frog so happens to be it's a detective. He's the second best detective in the detective. What would you call it? Detective job place he works at. I don't fucking know. Anyway.
Detective agency?
Agency, that's the word. Agency, detective agency. He's the second best. The number one's Lobster. We don't meet them, but we hear about them. Anyway, I've got hardcore lore for this game, as you can tell.
Whoa.
Yeah. And you hear about this mission. There's a job. There's a haunted island. People have been reporting hearing ghost noises coming there. So you head on over to the island, and the gameplay is very simple. As I said, it's only an hour, and the key factor to why you would play this game is the writing. It is written. It's got good witty humor. I enjoyed its sense of humor. It got me to laugh a couple times, and that's the reason you would play it. You interact with several different characters on the island. You have conversations with them, not like conversation wheels. You basically just click through conversations. That's it. You're just listening to them talk. But it's funny. It's entertaining. And then there's quote unquote puzzles. They're not really puzzles. They're not particularly hard. But you'll talk to one character. They'll be like, "Oh, I can help you out if you give me a broom." And you're like, "Cool." So then you go talk to another character who's like, "I can help you out if you give me, I can give you a broom if you give me this other thing." And then it's basically, you find one object, take it to one character, get the thing from there, and take it to the other character, so on and so forth, and blah 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 blah. And then you do all the things, and you end up solving the case eventually. It's an hour, less than an hour, if that. So, but there is the second one coming out some point later this year. And I'm quite looking forward to it now because it's quite charming. The frog's cute. Wouldn't say that frogs are usually cute. Like IRL frogs, they're not particularly cute, I don't think. But the art style for this is, it's like it's cheap, obviously, and I don't mean that in a bad way. But it's like charming. It's like the perfect mixture of, we don't have a lot of money, but look what we've achieved, and our art style makes it work because it's kind of cute and charming. So, Haunted Island, that is a game. It's quite, that's fun. And another thing I played, which I did want to quickly talk about because we talked about this before when it was announced during the Nintendo Direct, which was, I think, like right at the start of the year, maybe like the February, January one or something like that. It was one of the really early Nintendo Directs of the year. But Cris Tales is this JRPG. It's coming out next year. It's coming to PS4 and stuff as well. It's not like a Switch exclusive. And the demo I played was on PC. But it's this really beautiful art style. And it's honestly the major reason to play this game. It is stunning, to put it bluntly. I was constantly throughout the demo just walking onto another screen and be like, "Oh wow, this looks pretty. Wow, this looks pretty. Wow, this looks pretty. Oh wow, everything looks pretty." And that's great. But it's 90% of the demo is just walking around. It's not much of the combat stuff, but from what the combat I got to play, it's pretty simple JRPG stuff. You got attacks and skills and whatever else. But the key thing for this game, and the thing that may get people interested, is it's got a really unique time. I won't say travel because that's what it is. Time manipulation, time mechanic. Anyway, it's a time mechanic, which is that I presume this is like basically how the start of the game will play out. But eventually you get this crystal, and it gives the main character, Cris, the ability to see through time, backwards and forwards. And you don't click button to activate this ability. It's just presented to you constantly on the screen. So the screen is kind of split into 3 sections. So the middle section where your character is walking constantly as you move, because the sections move, obviously. That's obviously present day time. There's then a section off to the left-hand side of the screen. And all these sections are separated by 2 lines. And the section off to the left is the past, and the section off to the right is the future. So as you walk around, you're presented with 3 different types of backgrounds. So it's like, and the characters as well. You can walk up to characters, like you walk up to the mayor of the town, for instance, and you can be like, "Oh, this is what they look like at the present." And in the future, they're not there. It's like, oh, do they die in the future? Do they just not happen to be here in the future? Who knows? But if you look if you move past them, so the past section of the screen was hovering over them, you could see them all much younger. And you're like, oh, this is what those characters look like when they was much younger and stuff. But when you get the power, you walk around the town and you can see that it's kind of destroyed. The place where you grew up is actually burnt down. A lot of the buildings are falling apart and other sorts of things like that. So some shit's going to go down. And basically the game sort of ends around a section where you get into a battle because these goblins invade the town, and that's where you do your first battle section. But in battle as well, you use time mechanics to help out. So there's this boss character, or whatever you want to call it. It's these two twin girls who have these massive shields, and you can't do any damage to them because every time you attack them, their shields will stop all the damage. But, and I presume the puzzles like this will get a lot more complicated and cool, but I appreciated the way this worked, is you get introduced quickly to another character, but they disappear because the demo stops shortly after this. But this boy character comes in called Christopher or something. It starts with C as well. But they come in and they can use water magic ability. As I was saying, most of the stuff is typical JRPG type stuff. But you get them to use water on them. They block it with their shield. Then with Cris, you send them forward in time, and then because their shield had water put on it, as you push them through time, when they go through, their shield is now rusted. So then when you attack them, it's actually now doing damage. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. You could obviously see implementations of that being cooler and different and whatever else for different boss fights and these sorts of things. Regular couple goblin goons, I thought you could do the same sort of thing, and they would be much older goblins, and then when you hit them you did more damage because they're older and more frail, I guess. But the demo took about an hour to play through. I definitely wouldn't play it on my PC. That was not my preferred place to play a game like this. It's more of like obviously I'd rather play it on my PS4 or even my Switch, honestly. But the only downside to the Switch is that the art style is amazing, and I would be want to actually just play it on a maybe PS4 just because I'd want it to be the best looking version that it can possibly be, though. So yeah, but really good, really good. Do you remember seeing this one at all during the?
No,
you don't remember?
It's not ringing a bell.
Not ringing any bell. Yeah,
was it a Square Enix one?
No, I don't think so. No, because it's been published by Modius Games. It says here.
Okay, then no.
I remember the trailer didn't I remember seeing the trailer and being like, this art style looks cool, but I wasn't hooked because when you're seeing the trailer and you're seeing the way the game's presented with these 3 different time zones, it's kind of like the present time zone's like a triangle over your head, and then the 2 other sides beside the triangle, it's hard to explain. But when you see this cut together in the trailer, it kind of looks weird. You're like, would that be fun to play a game where you're constantly seeing 3 different time zones? You know what I mean? And that's what I remember thinking when I showed the trailer, because I had no context for how it works or seeing it at a pace that you would actually play it at the game, because it was all cut together really fast and stuff, and I was like, this is kind of weird and stuff. But actually playing it and being like, oh, this works fine, it's not really weird or hard to control your character or anything like that. So I'm really looking forward to this now. I honestly, I was saying, the mission stuff I did wasn't super exciting. The story stuff was kind of cliche, to put it plainly. All the characters were voice acted already in the demo, though. Every single character, including random ones that you could just interact with on the street and stuff. So that's a big old plus to me in an RPG. If that's the standard they're going to set, that every character has to be voice acted. But all the character designs were great. The backgrounds were great. The combat, as I said, I didn't get too much into, but with the time mechanic, I'm I could see a lot of potential here. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to finding out more about this one. Cris Tales comes out some point next year. They've just got a 2020 release date on it. I will have, the day that this podcast publishes, I'll have a preview video thing, whatever. I play through it, then give I play through it and then give some initial impressions of that as well. So that will be going up on youtube.com/Explosion Network the day that this podcast publishes, so you can find that over there as well. more this episode, Ash, really is basically all fucking insider baseball, no, not inside baseball, industry news stuff. So let's continue that. E3 Expo leaks personal information of over 2,000 journalists, writes Maddie Myers over at Kotaku. This story blew up. Rightfully so, obviously.
Yeah.
As I said, it's...
I wonder why so many journalists wanted to cover this stuff.
Yeah, who'd have thought?
This story.
Yeah, who'd have thought? And as I said right at the start of the show, literally a couple hours before recording, there was more information coming out about finding out that other information had leaked. So, I mean, more could happen before this episode publishes, but nonetheless. This story from Kotaku, though, says a spreadsheet containing the contact information and personal addresses of over 2,000 game journalists, editors, and other content creators was recently found to have been published and publicly accessible on the website of the E3 Expo. The Entertainment Software Association, the organization that runs E3, has since removed the link to the file as well as the file itself, but the information has continued to be disseminated online in various gaming on forums. While many of the individuals listed in the documents provided their work addresses and phone numbers when they were registered for E3, many others, especially freelance content creators, seem to have used their home addresses and personal cell phones, which may have now been publicized. So, just to stop there for a second as I also gather my brain power back because I struggled to read through that last paragraph. But that's like an important note because obviously like places like IGN and whatever, people would just put IGN's address, maybe they put IGN's phone number, etc., for a lot of these bigger places. But as an example, if we went to E3, I would put my number, my address, like if we ever had to fill out a thing for the Explosion Network officially, like if they were like, if we both applied for E3 and it was like, where is the home base of Explosion Network? I could see the case where it's like we both just put down my address or someone, so it's like we're saying the same, ticking all the same boxes sort of thing. So for this sort of thing to happen, I'm like, oh yeah, glad. PAX, please, just no, don't get bad. This leak has made it possible for bad actors to misuse the information to harass journalists. Two people who say they have private information appeared in the leak have informed Kotaku that they've already received prank calls since this was publicized. The existence of the document was first publicized in a YouTube video that journalist Sophia Narwitz posted on her personal channel on Friday. In her video, Narwitz described how the file could be accessed, saying, quote, "On the public E3 website was a web page that carried a link simply titled Register Media List. Upon clicking the link, a spreadsheet was downloaded that included the names, addresses, phone numbers, and publications of over 2,000 members of the press who attended E3 this past year. Again, the E3 website has since been updated to remove this link, but cached versions of the site do indeed show that a link titled Registered Media List used to appear on a helpful links page for some time yesterday. Even after this page was removed, clicking on that link in the easily accessible Google Cache version of the page would download the spreadsheet from E3's website servers." Narwitz said, quote, "Before even considering making this story public, I contacted the ESA via phone within 30 minutes of having this information. Worried that might not be enough, I also shot off an email not too long after. On top of that, I reached out to a number of journalists to make them aware of this." One reporter who asked to remain anonymous told Kotaku that he had been one of the people Narwitz contacted before publishing her YouTube video. That reporter says that Narwitz told him she had first learned of the document's existence because someone had emailed her anonymously to say that they discovered it and downloaded the information. After receiving this email, Narwitz purportedly then confirmed the file's existence herself. The reporter who says Narwitz contacted him told Kotaku that he had cautioned Narwitz against publicizing any information about this spreadsheet until after it had been removed by the ESA. That reporter then contacted an ESA representative himself. After that, the direct link to the file was removed from the website. Unfortunately, the file itself was still accessible to anyone who knew the link or could find the Google Cache version of the page. Once the page containing the link to the file was removed, Narwitz publicized her YouTube video about the leaks, seemingly believing that the file was no longer accessible. Soon after that, users noted on social media that although the link to the file had been removed, the spreadsheet file itself was still accessible. And the anonymous reporter told Kotaku that he then contacted the ESA a second time, and at that point, the ESA deleted the file from its website. However, Narwitz's video had already unwittingly published publicized the existence and continued availability of the file, the contents of which continued to be shared online. The ESA provided Kotaku with a statement about the leak saying, quote, ESA was made aware of a website vulnerability that led to the contact list of registered journalists attending E3 being made public. Once notified, we immediately took steps to protect the data and shutting down the site, which is no longer available. We regret this occurrence and have put measures in place to ensure it will not occur again. That's basically the gist of the first 24 hours. I do have a second follow-up piece here, though, to add on to that to get us kind of up to date here. So, over at GameIndustry.biz, James Batchelor, I think. Batchelor? Yeah, sure. I mean, last name's Batchelor. Good on you. Who I would say does really, really amazing work. I follow him on Twitter, and all the stuff he does for GameIndustry.biz is quite good. And I think all of the stuff he's been doing for this post that initial 24-hour period and like follow-up stuff has been he's uncovered several new leaks and stuff like that. It's been really good about covering the whole story. So side note there. Turns out this weekend's news about the ESA inadvertently leaking journalists' details is not without precedent. GameIndustry.biz has learnt that the database personal information for media professionals attending E3 are also available from 2 previous years. These lists were publicly available until earlier today, when the ESA stated, and the GameIndustry.biz confirmed, that they had been taken down entirely. While both of these events were so long ago that details are likely out of date, put a side note in there from myself and say that yeah, if they got addresses, most people don't move every 2 fucking years. The fact that they were publicly available until earlier today raises concerns. Also, another side note, I haven't changed my mobile number in like fucking 12 years, so let's you know. I don't know how often you change your number, but yeah, exactly.
No, not unless I need to.
Exactly, not unless something like this happened. While both these,
even then,
you'll just take it. You'll take the.
I mean, my name's Ashley, so there's a chance that I'll be getting a certain type of response.
Well, yeah.
So
maybe you'll like it. While both of these events were so long ago, the database we have seen contained more than 2,800 listings for journalists who attended one E3 and more than 3,300 who attended another. Another side note, I got a side note between a fucking paragraph here. Just, you can use these leaked numbers to see how E3's numbers have gone down every year. They're literally in the media contact titles. These listings included full names, job titles, addresses, often work, but some for home, email addresses, phone numbers, and fax numbers. This follows from news that emerged over the weekend, blah, 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 blah. The trade body has since offered an explanation and apologized, but has done little to calm the outrage within the games media community. The statement does claim that, quote, for more than 20 years, there's never been an issue. The databases we have seen prove otherwise. The ESA has issued a statement which reads in full as follows. Quote, on August 2nd, the ESA learned that a confidential file containing contact information of registered E3 2019 media badge holders could be accessed by individuals other than authorized users. The file was located in a password-protected section of the E3 website, which was intended for exhibitors only. As soon as we learned of the issue, we took immediate action. We removed the file from the website, we disabled access to the site's exhibitor portal, and we notified those affected. In addition, we launched a process to locate and remove private and public caches and other publicly accessible online locations that contained the file. In the course of our investigation, we learned that media contact lists from E3 2004 and 2006 were cached on a third-party Internet Archive site. These were not files hosted on ESA servers or on the current website. We took immediate steps to have those files removed, and we have received confirmation today that all files were taken down from the third-party site. We also immediately notified those persons impacted. General attendee information was not affected in this situation. We are working with our partners outside counsel and independent experts to investigate what led to this situation and to enhance our security efforts. We are still investigating the matter to gain a full understanding of the facts and circumstances that led to the issue. So I feel like that's the most like unpacking I've had to do for a story, and simply because I felt like there's like so much. There was such a timeline of events. It's like you got to kind of get it out there, I guess. But yeah, what was your initial reaction when this thing went down?
What the fuck? How do you screw up this badly? I guess.
Yeah, As such a big company or
I mean,
corporation.
They listed it under helpful links.
Yeah.
It's not like it was hidden away in some corner.
No.
It was under the FAQs,
Yeah.
links that people might need if they're going to E3.
Yep.
People's personal information and personal address. Oh, it's bad.
It's bad.
Why?
I don't know. And
I don't.
my my reaction these days, especially this episode, is this is a much bigger deal than the fucking Ooblets thing. But what are people yelling about? Anyway, that's a thing, of course. I think there's obviously ESA's at blame, fully at blame.
Yeah,
but there's another side to the story I do want to discuss because I tweeted about it, and I feel like to not discuss it would be like, why would I bother tweeting about it if I'm not going to talk about it? But as you said, why would you have a link plain as day under helpful links? Whose decision and who did that and whatever? No offense, but they have to be dumb as fucking rocks. And I mean, actually, no, full offense. You have to be dumb as fucking rocks to make that decision. Because really, just going to put a link under the thing and just put it.
Yeah. I guess the only way I can think is if they wanted to give people who are exhibiting the information of the media, but then you would just give a list of you wouldn't put their home address or their personal address, their personal phone number. You might just put name, email address, what company they're working for.
Yeah.
If you're putting a list together for that specific purpose.
Yes, which I don't think there was, but...
No, they just decided to stick everybody's names, or somebody got freaking lazy and just dumped all the information in one place.
I feel like it's... Yeah, because, I mean, all places do lists like this, right? This is the thing that works. So, for instance, when PAX Australia does theirs, they would have some server thing or whatever set up that requires a username, password, or whatever, and they'll send it out to developers and publishers and whatever, and I'll have a list of all the media names coming to PAX, and that's how they get the names and addresses so they can email around, hey, do you want to check out our game? Hey, do you want, all that sort of stuff. That's how it works. So, I just want to say that having a list isn't bad or not normal. Having the list is fine. The list exists for a reason, and you sign up to it as media for kind of knowing what you're in for, I guess, what its use is for. But to have it front and center on the website, it's like, I don't know, it does just feel like it's like, oh, no one will notice, and we'll only tell the people who need to know, or something like that. Like what?
Well, to be fair, nobody did notice until
wrong.
Well after.
Wrong. People noticed. People noticed quite some time ago. Apparently, I was right before we started recording. I didn't get to add it to my freaking show notes here. I was trying to find it real quickly, but there was a follow-up story, literally published right before we started recording this. That I think this is it. 2 hours ago. This must be. Someone else was aware of it years ago. I think this is it. Once I was told to yeah, okay. Once again, GameDaily.biz reports full details of journalists and analysts and content creators who attended E3 2018 were available via direct download, a file that has since been removed. So here's last year's as well. One source told the site that they discovered the leak back in August 2018, while a second found it a month later. The later informed the ESA about the leak and potential GDPR concerns, but never received a response. The first source says the list was still available as recently as a couple months ago. It was likely removed this week when the ESA pulled the media listings for 2019, 4, and 2006 that also leaked. The 2019 leak emerged over the weekend. Personal information, blah, 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 blah. In the original statement, ESA claimed that for more than 20 years it's been nothing but an issue. And guess what? It continues to be an issue. So yes, two unnamed sources in this Reddit story say that they found it. And they emailed them or whatever. Now, as to if people are emailing the ESA and they're not responding, it's either like they're seeing it and choosing not to do anything about it, and that would be the worst case scenario, obviously, or they have like a really strict like email whatever, and you can say, hopefully it's like the email went to spam. You know, that's what you want to believe or something. You know what I mean? You don't want to believe that they received the email and just chose to ignore it and do something a year ago. Yeah, so the ESA is at full blame. I mean, it's one of the biggest fuck ups, I think, in this specific side of the industry, I guess, that I know of. Like, there's never been a massive leak like this of media stuff before and personal information and these sorts of things. 2,000 something people from this year, 3,000 from another. All this, I mean, you can average it out, saying that it's not going to be exact same people every single year, and say there's at least somewhere probably between 3,000 to 4,000 people, unique names, I'd guess, between all the lists here.
Yep.
That's a lot of people's personal information being leaked, and I think that they're going to have to be held accountable. And I guess the question that a lot of people are asking is like, is this death of E3? I'm going to say no. I don't think this is going to lead to...
Well, potentially, because I've seen stories several places that people are looking at class action lawsuits and that sort of thing.
Well, I know Alana Pierce was...
Alana Pierce was a large voice in putting something together. She's apparently got a lot of people get in contact with her, and they're looking to their options. But if there's a hefty class action lawsuit, then maybe the ESA doesn't have the financial... They've been trying to make money the last few years. How financially so strong are they?
Yeah.
They just had Sony walk out this year.
Yeah. Well,
is this their nail in the coffin?
I think this could highly likely be the end of the ESA. I don't think it's the end of E3, is my thing.
Okay.
Because I do think that if the ESA goes down, that doesn't have to mean that E3's dead. I think everyone's jumping to, like, if they go down, E3 goes down.
Somebody else buys the rights. THQ Nordic buys the rights to E3.
Fucking if someone's going to... Yeah, someone's going to do it. I still think, we're going to remember what next year is. Next year's next-gen consoles.
Yeah, everyone's going to want to... They can do all those. There's so many other events they could go to. It's fan events. They can do their own. No,
E3 is E3. I don't believe it's going to go away. And
they can go to Gamescom. They can go to Tokyo Game Show.
They can show that shit off there. If ESA goes down after this, which, I mean, rightfully, I think leaking this much information, they fucking deserve to. To be honest, I mean, you've crossed the line, Leak one person's information, be like, that's a slap on the wrist. Leak two people's information, double slap on the wrist. Leak 3,000 plus people's information, several years worth. Yeah, that's 3 strikes and out in one go. I think there's no real argument about it. But I do think that even if they go, that I would be highly surprised if E3 doesn't end up happening. Still, I don't believe that would happen at all. So the other thing I wanted to get your 2 cents on is the other point of the argument here. It's about how
By the way, ESA stands for Entertainment Software Association. That's the ESA we're talking about, not the European Space Agency. Yes. And any other acronym for ESA.
I'm sure there's a bunch, yeah. So I am of the belief that Sophia Narwitz's original video and reporting on this story is and was hurtful. I think that a lot of people are arguing that it's like, well, if she didn't do it, then how would anything have happened? And I guess you can make that argument, but like, just because, but it's still, to me, it still caused a lot of damage. Like, and she's saying that she made the video as soon as she did what was possible and saw that the link was removed, and then she published the video like 30 minutes after she saw the link was removed or whatever. But I mean, I'm no fucking web designer, and I know that just because you remove a link doesn't mean the file's gone. We are like, the Wayback Machine is a website, Come on.
Yeah.
I feel like she was so fast to clout and chase the views. That was what was more important than people's safety on this one. Okay? And I will put an asterisk on this, because I do think it's important to obviously note when you have some biases towards stories. I don't like her.
Oh, shocker!
I'm just gonna put it out there. If she did a really good job on this reporting, I would be like, I don't like her, but she did a good job here, and I'll continue to dislike her. If that's the way the story went, I would happily say I don't. It's like with Ninja. Don't like Ninja. I think he made the right decision. Good on you, Ninja. Still don't like Ninja. If I believe she did a good job with this story, I would say good job on the story. Still don't like you at all. And I'm going to move on. The reason I don't like her is because she was heavily involved with Gamergate back in the day. Right? I basically everyone that was heavily involved with Gamergate, I'm going to forever hold a grudge with. It was I hate the whole thing. It's the only time I've received for sticking up for certain people on Twitter. It's the only time I've received fucking death threats in my Twitter inbox from randoms. It was the only time during Gamergate. Okay, so I do have a grudge against people that were involved and were heavy supporters of the Gamergate movement, and a lot of the people that you see now harassing the Ooblets team are and still are Gamergate supporters. And you look through some of their Twitter profiles and you can scroll back and see Gamergate shit. So just want to tie everything in. And I find it quite odd that someone who has spoken so highly against the games media, a lot of people, managed to leak some of their, not inadvertently managed to leak a bunch of their details. I was like, do you really care? It was my reaction. When she was like, oh, you know, this I didn't mean for this to happen. I was like, I don't think you actually really care, because I have you blocked on Twitter for a reason. That's because I don't think you actually give two shits about these people. So, I think that this is one of those stories. And look, you're gonna ask the question to me and be like, "Hey, Dylan, if you had information to the story, and if someone had leaked you this, told you this, emailed you and said, here's the thing," and I double checked it, would I publish the story? No, because this is way too big of a thing, right? Too potentially hurtful for a lot of people. You know, I follow a bunch of people who were harassed back in the Gamergate days, who as soon as this happened, they were legit scared. You know, they were ringing their cops at their town, telling them I may get spotted. Ringing family, being like, just so you know, you may get calls by people. You know, all these sorts of things. I'm like, what world is that okay? That's their first reaction. Like, oh shit, the Gamergaters are coming for me. So I think that if I had access to publish a story, I wouldn't have done it, because leaking 2,000 something people's information is a big fucking deal, and I wouldn't have been able to publish the story unless I had double checked, triple checked, quadruple checked, and got the AOK from the ESA several times. And I think the fact that I'm sorry, I think the fact that we were like the unnamed reporter that she was talking back and fro from, you know, they were like, just sit for a minute. And she was like, but the link's removed, I'm going to publish. And then that person was the one who then contacted the ESA and got the cache link removed and stuff. You know? So, also, I should have found the tweet here somewhere, but I'm pretty sure I also, hold on.
I'll just say, if I was in that situation, I would also have like confirmed with the ESA, but I would have definitely published the story at some point. I mean, that's a huge story. I mean, if you're doing the legwork to look into it, get it, you'd want to be the one to scoop it. But I can understand how, from a certain extent, you're like, hey, the link's not there anymore. I'm sure ESA has done the right thing and deleted this file and made sure nobody can look at it anymore. I'm sure this story is fine to publish now. To be fair, it's mostly ESA's fault. They shouldn't have had that file available for people to consume.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, of course, she gave it a microphone. I can understand how certain people would be upset, but she was just doing her job. Probably not as thoroughly as she could have if this other reporter's the one who's being in contact with the ESA constantly. But we don't know. I don't know what contact that it's had with the ESA either. It could just be this article that we're looking at is not. She including
she
those
emailed
things.
them once and tried to ring them, apparently. But apparently it was like at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah. Why aren't they up at 2 a.m.? Well,
know.
Our morning or their
morning? I also want to note, so Mike Futter on Twitter tweeted out the GameDaily.biz thing and says this was for the 2014 and 16 leaks. Says the ESA confirms and it also leaked details of media who attended E3 in 2004 and 2006. These files and the 2019 files were available all weekend via archives, which is what made the initial reporting so damn dangerous. The archives are now removed. This is why the initial report was so careless. I've been sitting on this all weekend. We couldn't say a thing because it would have further endangered people. The reporter who went live before checking archives failed everyone on the list. And that's the thing. I don't think, obviously think the main story is about ESA, and I think everyone, that's where basically all of your attention should be.
Yep.
But I also think the story does have a side story that's highly relevant to like what is dangerous reporting. And most of the time when people are doing, most games journalism never comes under the circumstance of ever being like, oh, this is dangerous reporting. You know, people, reporters who are involved in dangerous reporting are usually like covering world news. Like, you know, go watch fucking The Newsroom all 3 seasons and literally learn, you know, they do a really good season on like, I can't remember what the story was, but there was like they got access to leaked documents and so, you know, all sorts of stuff. And it kind of covers like what's, you know, what is covered under like your journalistic integrity and these sorts of things. Your responsibility as a reporter and these sorts of things. And my 2 cents, and that's why I tweeted it the first day it popped from the get-go, and that's why I was really happy. That's one of those times where I tweeted something and I was like, I know I'm going to be on the side here, and I'm never going to argue that I don't have a bias against this person, but that's not the reason I think it's bad reporting. I just think it's bad reporting, full stop. And that's why I was happy when I saw Mike tweet that thing where I was like, well, here's someone who's actually a fucking journalist, because I'm not, right? Here's someone who's actually a journalist saying that this was bad reporting. I'm like, well, I fucking thought so, because it just seemed unsafe. It seemed dangerous reporting. That's what it is, okay? I don't think that's what the whole story should be about, but I do think it's worth noting because I don't think it's something that actually happens in this industry at all or a lot or ever. You know, it's there's never relevant times to be like, this was bad reporting, I guess, or whatever. But this is where I'd say it was dangerous. It was dangerous reporting. Yeah, so that's how I feel about it. So, anything else to say on this the E3 leaks though? Do you think? I mean, that's what I'm saying. At this stage, 2 more years could leak before this podcast publishes. I
mean, I'm surprised that 2020's stuff, 2021 stuff hasn't been leaked yet.
Yeah.
I mean, they've leaked that much stuff that surely stuff from the future is going to be what they leak next. We've got to change our emails now.
Yeah, fuck. They're fucked, though. That's the thing. They are fucked. The ESA is fucked. There's no way they don't get out of it. Yeah. These people aren't joking about these class action lawsuits, and people take that. And people also, something I don't fully understand, but people are pointing out, like, in the UK, their laws or whatever, like, this is really, like, infringes a Privacy Act or something that apparently the UK takes really fucking serious. So, and UK journalists were leaked, so.
Yeah, I don't know how much, because obviously it's a US thing.
It doesn't matter.
Well, the internet is such a thing. It's so confusing whose laws count where. But yeah, I can't see E3 running again next year under the ESA unless I don't know how many people would be willing to risk it being leaked again when it's clear that they've got a history of fucking everybody over.
But yeah, exactly. I'm that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say the E3 runs next year. But it's not under the ESA.
I don't think so. I just don't think so. Without the ESA, I don't know if it runs next year. Who's got? Well, unless somebody like whoever's ReedPop or whoever's running PAX in America.
ReedPop, I think,
runs it. Another big company just takes over.
Maybe.
But what does that E3 look like?
I mean, they tried to turn it into PAX this year anyway, so. Or a similar sort of event. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We won't know anything for sure for a while, I guess. But you know, it's one of those things we'll have to wait a couple months to see as people start getting these what they're going to do, speaking to their legal representatives and finding out what they're going to do about it and whatever else. But you know, by the end of the year, some more is going to move on this, and by the end of the year, we'll be like. The ESA is just fucking shut down. They're being sued by 1,000 fucking media journalists or whatever. either way, it's going to be one of the massive stories I think of the year. One of the biggest game stories of the year. Not like game releases or reveals or whatever that the big stuff that most people care about, but like actual industry stories and stuff. This will probably be the biggest.
Yeah,
one of the biggest stories of the year. It's absolutely fucking nuts that this is what happened. It's dangerous, utterly crazy, and that's what I'm saying. I just want to. Before we wrap up the show, I just want to say the main reason that I'm saying the ESA are a bunch of fucking idiots for this, and that I found the reporting dangerous, to tie it back to other stories, is because you have, look at that the Ooblets thing we covered. Those people attack people like that. Imagine those people with access to those two developers' contact information. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it wasn't developer information, but you see how people react when like fucking Lucy O'Brien gives a game a 6 or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you saw when the stories were breaking, if you looked at the tweets, there were people going, hey, that's what these people deserve. Freaking game journalists. Yep.
And that is the
people are terrible.
That's the GGTA movement in a nutshell, really, there. And that's why it's dangerous and horrible.
Yeah.
And not good at all. But yeah, there. So that's been this week's episode. Thank you for joining us on the couch this week. It's been a very serious, somewhat very serious couch this week, but
just as depressing.
It's the week in news. I can't change the news.
People are the worst, right?
People are the worst. I can't change.
People are just the worst.
You can't. Hopefully, there's some better, uplifting, happier stories next week.
Probably.
I would actually. I just want to say, as much as I get rolled up and I'm happy to have a good rant about the Ooblets thing or whatever else, I would rather come here every week and just talk about happy things. Obviously, I don't prefer to talk about angry things. But when you have a week like this, it's like, what the fuck are we talking about on our couch this week? Are we just talking about fucking ESL?
You're just gonna ignore all this stuff.
What am I gonna talk about? I could have literally. That's what I'm saying. I didn't even add the Trump story as a main topic, and we could have had that as a whole thing, and it would have been more. And certain other PAX involved story, but we didn't have that either. So it's like we could have had a whole fucking show. But thank you for joining us on the couch this week. Make sure you check out explosionnetwork.com for all our other shows, reviews, news articles, and much more, of course. And you can review Arcade Couch on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser to help out the show, or simply write a little tweet it at us and say, good job, really enjoyed the episode.
Yeah.
Do what you need.
Sure. Whatever.
And share that one.
Just be nice to people.
Be nice to people. Don't even bother reviewing us this week. Yeah, that's it. Fuck it. Take everything back I said. Don't review us. Just tell someone you love them. Do that instead. You can follow Explosion Network though on Twitter at ExplosionPod, and you can join our Discord at explosionnetwork.com/Discord. You can follow me on Twitter at Vivaladil, VIVALADIL. You can follow Ash on Twitter at Ashley Holby, ASHLEYHOBLEY, and we will see you here same time, same couch, happier tone next week. Catch up on the latest TV, online media, movie news, from the biggest comic book films to the biggest YouTube crazes to our local cinema scene, and then hear what we've been watching before asking the age-old question, what do you want to watch? Available on all podcast services every second Friday. Just search your podcast app for What Do You Want to Watch and subscribe for free now. I should take a breather before I continue. People can see me turn red when I get into my fiery arguments now. That's the plus of the video.